Hi everyone, my name is Tim, also known as Pixel Jinxed, and welcome back to the channel. First off, I want to say I am sorry. It has been a few weeks since I did the last video, and I've just been swamped. It's the holidays in the US, so I really haven't had the time to kind of sit and do the voiceovers. I also kind of decided I'm going to skip over a lot of the art swapping because it's all really just the same thing, and you get to see some of the build out, and it's kind of cool in some ways, but I kind of thought, well, it's been a few weeks, let's just catch up to where we are. So right now what I'm working on in this project, as you can see behind, is specifically particle effects. Mainly I'm doing a rain particle effect, because the story is you're kind of hiking up a mountain and looking for shelter, and you take shelter in this cave. And then one of the things I've talked about before, which is like one of the main principles, is kind of like the fog of war. Just block out everything else you want, you don't want seen with fog, and no one's the wiser. It also kind of helps with the eeriness, and then something on this, it makes it more of a feeling like, oh, you're up high in the clouds. So that's one of the things that we're trying to achieve in this video. I also added this like pulsing light here. You can see these crystals. I added an animation where the lights go up and down. Well, their intensity gets higher and lower. At this point, I'm still tweaking it. I kind of have it a bit too bright. Brighter than I was really liking. Although I did like how the second tunnel to like the third chamber was a little brighter. My professor didn't really care for it as much as I did. So I did eventually eliminate some of these lights and crystals to kind of dim it down, in particular. So right here at the start, I kind of just wanted to do a real quick walkthrough so everyone could see, all the art has been swapped out, all the art's been final. I've already worked on the lights. I mean, granted, after this video, I still worked on them even more. But for the most part, that is what it is. Right here, you can see this big white box here on the back. I kind of did that on purpose. Being I'm using a directional light for the outside, it kind of bleeds into the inner chambers where it should be, basically pitch black other than the lights from the crystals. And I'm actually not quite sure why or how it's getting through. Granted, I have a lot of pieces overlapping and stuff, so maybe there's a crack somewhere where it's not seeing. Where it's not sealed. Or maybe it just it goes through the material. I'm not entirely sure, but it's not as dark. It wasn't as dark as I'd like it. Eventually I did change the skybox, and you'll see that probably in the next video. But essentially, I made this giant studio kind of giant white box around it to kind of bounce the light out, and it did help quite a bit. Not as much as I would have liked or wanted, but it did bounce out most of what I wanted. And then also, as you've seen when we had put it into the play mode, you won't see any of that. It's purposely hidden behind the main kind of facade, and that just blocks it out. And that's why that was one way I kind of dealt with it. I'm not going to say that that's the proper way. I'm sure it's not, but it did kind of work for me in a sense. Now here what I'm doing is I'm playing with the particle system, which I found a tutorial by what's this? I'm not even sure. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it's Etreda. It's Etreda, or Etredal, or Tradad. Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce it exactly, but they have an excellent tutorial on fog, and I believe it was on GitHub. They had the actual like white particle. It's kind of like a transparent image of fog, cloudy sort of looking thing, and you know, it's available for free, and it's a great tutorial. Very, you know, very short to the point, explained in pretty good detail, and it's helped me. I mean, I've used it for this project. I used it on the last project. I have another project that I'm actually going to probably go back and do some, you know, maybe add this into it. The last the Cyber City one that I did before this, definitely. That's the one where I originally used it. But now that I've played around with it a lot more, I've kind of figured out a bit more how to use it on, or at least use it the way I want to use it. Here, I'm kind of trying to play with the color, trying to get it a little dark, get a little gray, kind of want the day gloomy and look rainy. So, playing with the color here, sort of on the color wheel. I'm also adjusting it because I'm trying to scale it so that it... The reason, I mean, the way you see me playing with here is I need to scale it so that it still looks dense, but yet covers the wide, an area wide enough without raising the max particles too high. And this was, my professor had suggested that the cave should be filled with fog, and it is now. I use mainly the Unity, like the built-in fog for the Unity lighting. It's under here in the inspector, well, next to the inspector, the lighting tab. There's an option for fog there, and that double helped. Even with this particle fog on the outside, on the inside, it really helped with it. But I really kind of wanted it denser, at least at the entrance, kind of something you walk through, so it's like you really can't see what you're, you know, what you're walking into. So that was, you know, the reason why I shrank it here and kind of tried to put it there. The only problem with this is that I was having a lot of trouble trying to figure out, like, okay, you know, it kind of looks like it's flowing inwards, which, I mean, that's fine, but it wasn't flowing at the angle I really wanted it to. And see, I kind of got it there how I sort of wanted it, but it's one of those things that I don't know if I necessarily had the time to really finesse and everything to get it exactly how I wanted it. I got it to a certain point, and again, you'll see that probably in the next video. But here, you know, I'm playing with the max particles. That will really show you how dense the fog can be. You know, the higher it is, the lower it is. Its emission rate over time. So, like, you know, how many does it put out over... I believe these are milliseconds. You know, if that was seconds, this would be extremely slow. Because that was the other thing. I was trying to slow its speed down. I mean, honestly, I wanted it about half of this current speed that it's currently, you know, doing. But then I also didn't want it to fade so quickly either. So that's why it's like it still wasn't quite as transparent, as dense as I wanted. It was, you could still see too much through it. But yeah, no, I mean, the particle and rain effects were really interesting to do, especially the rain effect. I really like how this particle rain effect came out. It was actually extremely simple to do. I didn't need to create any assets for it. And actually, there's a second half to the tutorial, and the tutorial I found was by Speed Tutor here on YouTube. I extremely highly recommend that. I believe to get the particle that you would need to complete the effect is paid, which, you know, I wouldn't mind paying, especially because it was really good, and I do plan on paying for it, so that I can get the second half of the tutorial for, well, I'm saying all this and I should just say, basically, when the rain hits the ground, it would have like a splash effect. Right now, you can't see that because I didn't do it. It's one of those things that I don't quite have enough time to do it right now, but it's one of those things that I'll come back because it's not that much more work, but it, you know, at least from the video that, you know, the tutorial video, it looks amazing. and pretty simple to do. It was just a lot of my extra work, and then, I would have to go through buying it, and then it was just, again, time and everything. I've not had a lot of time to really do a whole bunch of things in the last 3 weeks. I've been very busy with work and having a lot of overtime, so that's where we're kind of like squeezing this in where we can, and especially now I'm down to the wire. I've got 2 weeks left, starting this week when this video is actually posted. I'll have this week and next week to actually complete this project. And I have a third project for this class, which is done in, OpenBrush on the MetaQuest headset, which I have already kind of started, but I kind of think I need to start over, considering I seen with what some of my classmates had done, or at least 2 of my classmates had done. A lot of people are behind like me, but theirs look amazing. Mine looks kind of but I did put a preview of that on Instagram. I think it was just on my reels, but I will make a post of it soon. So if you want to check it out, you can see it there. At least the beginning. I'll have to edit out the menus that I have to open and close to actually do the recording on the headset, which is something I think I might do my own tutorial video for, because I didn't really see a lot of videos like that, at least when I looked for them. I think I ended up figuring out how to do like screen recordings off the actual headset. I think I learned how to do that by like looking it up, and maybe it's like an AI answer partially. It's been so long because I did that for the class I took like a year and a half ago, when I did the intro for this class. But yeah, I mean, that's something for down the road. But in this video, I really kind of wanted to show off the particle effects. See, now that's a lot closer to what I was looking for. It's dense, it's slow, and then it's just like, okay, once you get to a certain angle, it looks kind of weird the way it's like kind of coming through the walls, but I thought it kind of worked. Then it's like, okay, yeah, you can't really see until you almost get to the end of the tunnel, and then you reach, the second chamber where all the stalactites and stalagmites are. You got the crystals in here, and they're pulsing. You walk through, and then you find the next tunnel leading you to the final chamber where the treasure is. So I was really, really liking how this was coming out, and then I also liked how the fog looked around the front facade. Here I kind of did it. This I was trying to duplicate it because I wanted to put it. I was thinking, okay, well, I'll put it for both the tunnels, but it didn't really work in the second tunnel, and then it also didn't make sense that you'd have fog just in the one tunnel, just in the tunnels, and not in the second chamber with the stalactites. And I thought the stalactites already block so much of a view. I kind of thought it was a little too busy there. So I ended up eliminating this part from the chamber because I thought it was too busy. I thought it blocked too much of view. And then also particle effects are very processor heavy. I don't know if I have it in this video. I don't even know if I recorded it, but I did have multiple particle effects running, and this was like when I was using like these high max particles in the system, and I don't know, I was running like 7 or 8 particle systems that were like super high max particles, and my computer's no slouch. I got a 3060. I've got like I think it's a 16 core processor. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. It's no slouch. I built it for rendering, and yet even then with that, it was making Unity chug. Like I honestly thought I screwed up enough where I was going to have to go back a version and redo quite a bit of work. or redo all the particle effects from scratch. But luckily, I was able to just kind of delete them. Yeah, and that's why it even says like particles. Yeah, that's probably why it says particle system 7, because I ended up deleting. Oh no, I got one too. Oh. And maybe it was after this, because I played with these forever. I spent like a whole day just tweaking here and there, trying to make it work. And that's when like here it just I couldn't get it at an angle that I wanted it. It just didn't look right, especially it looked like it was coming from the opposite side. It just didn't seem like it was working for me. So eventually I'll clear this one from the second tunnel, and then later on, like I said, in the next video you'll see that I've added in Unity's fog system, and it'll be a lot better. And it'll have a little bit, not anything like this, not this dense. I could have done that, but then it didn't look right. That even took a while to play with and tweak to kind of fit what I was looking for. But yeah, I mean, this was kind of that was kind of about where I wanted it, but it was just too much. And that's why, like, I didn't want this to chug. The MetaQuest has pretty good hardware where I can run some real-time lights that I was going to need for the pulsing crystals and for these, particle effects. When I took my intro class, I was really like, okay, no particle effects, because we were using these cheap Asus Android phones. And doing it through Google Cardboard, and it just was not. It just wasn't gonna work. I wonder why I didn't keep that. That actually looks pretty good. I'm changing my mind in real time here. But yeah, no, I just kind of figured I wanted to cut back on it a little bit, because I mean outside on the main facade of the cave, it was already going to be super intensive, being I was already going to use like 5 particle systems there, because I'd have the rain, and then I had a fog system for like the for like the top of the mountain, and then like a wall of it so you can't see over the cliff, and then I needed 2 more for the front and back, so you can't see past like the wall of the mountain, you can't see past where you start. And then when I was doing that, I couldn't really connect them, or at least the top and side one, well enough, so I had to kind of put one at a little bit of an angle, so it was almost like a kind of like a half pipe sort of, just going from up the cliff wall and then to the top of the mountain kind of thing. So I'm already running enough particle systems that are fairly large, fairly dense. So that's a lot of processor power I'm eating up just on that. I haven't really pushed the MetaQuest to its limit, so I don't know quite how much I can get away with. And then I'm also not sure if maybe I was having just, I don't know if like the software was just chugging, it wasn't actually my hardware. When I started having that issue here in Unity, when I was working on the effects. So yeah, I mean that was that's actually a pretty cool shot. I mean, I like the way that looks. Even though you're just seeing most of the transparency of the cave walls. I don't know, there's something about that I like. Just years of breaking games and going through the maps, I guess. But yeah, no, I really am liking how this project's coming out. I think with anything, each project I do gets a little better and a little better, even though I think the difficulty was, on this one at least, was ramped up to 11. I think my third project, which I don't know how much video there will be of it, because any video I do of it's going to have to be done like while I record it. I mean, I have to paint an entire 3D room. It's almost like I have to build a room from scratch. And so it's like I don't know exactly how much of that I'm gonna have, but we'll see. I plan on trying to do what I can so I can get some more content and get some more video out of it. But yeah, I mean that's this is kind of the status of where the project is. It looks a little bit different than this, so there'll probably be 1 or 2 more videos on this project coming up pretty soon here. Mainly I'm going to record one of where I'm at right now and working on it in the SDK, the MetaQuest SDK, which for those who don't know, an SDK is a software development kit that I got from my professor. There, I've already baked the lights, because baking lights is just click a button and let it sit for 5 hours. At least on my computer, it was 5 hours. And, you know, that keeps all the shadows and everything, so you don't have to run real-time lights, even though I do have a few lights that I'm still going to run real-time. But it bakes all that so that, you know, no matter what, it'll keep the shadows how they're supposed to be, and it saves a ton of processing power. Here, I'm just trying to close up this gap because the way the tunnel goes into the box, I can't quite cut it off. I mean, I kind of could have. I could have really done it where I could have got some of these faces on this side and deleted them and had a little cleaner, little more thing. Also, eventually I closed this gap a bit further because I was trying to tweak it so that, you know, it's as close as it's possible. Again, this is one of those things where, hey, I'm a student here. I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. And, you know, we'll go about that as we can. And, you know, just, you know, adjust, test. That's the whole process. Alright, so I'm going to call it here for this video. Expect another video pretty soon here with, like I said, with me working on the SDK, with things quite farther along than here, or at least it's going to look further along just because the lighting's going to be completely different. There'll be some things missing here and there. But, yeah, I hope you'll tune in for that. Maybe see about doing that this week, maybe next week. I'm going to try and kind of pump out a couple other videos that don't really have anything to do with this. I really want to review this tour box. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. It's not sponsored or anything like that, but it's just something I love that has been... I've used it all over this project. So yeah, hope you guys like this video. Again, sorry it took 3 weeks to get another video out. I'm hoping to get back on a weekly schedule, at least for the next few weeks, maybe till the end of the year. You know, as long as I have, you know, video content on stuff that I can keep recording on, but we'll see. I might start doing some drawing videos. I'm looking into getting like an above camera, like light thing. So we'll see. But anyway, hope you like the video. Hope you tune in next time. Hit the like button, subscribe, please. And I would love it if you leave any comments, suggestions, down below. I read them all and eventually answer them. I do. And I'll see you next time.